I'm probably most proud of being part of a large campaign to get an 80% carbon reduction target in the Climate Change Act. But that was certainly something that took hundreds of MPs and tens of thousands of people across the country. In terms of a change that I've played a significant role in achieving, I would actually say it's the victory to allow clips of Parliament to be shown on YouTube. This is a way, I think, of opening up Parliament and politics to make it easily accessible to people, and I think in time it's going to prove as important as the decision 20 years ago to allow the television cameras in the House of Commons in the first place. I'm delighted that you can now share clips of Parliament on YouTube. There's still a few little technical details to continue with in the House, but I'm also quite confident that we will get them resolved so that people can enjoy watching Parliament and forward on clips to their friends of stuff that they've found interesting. Casework is actually really important for debates in Parliament, and the reason's this. Dealing with people at your advice surgeries from all different walks of life, all backgrounds, with all manner of different issues and problems that they're trying to resolve, gives a real insight into the human face of the issues that we discuss in debates and when we're discussing new laws in Parliament. So I think it is actually a really important part of an MP's job. I would, of course, prefer it if government agencies and other bodies were perhaps a little bit less rubbish at dealing with constituents in the first place, because it's quite common for somebody to come to you who's written a perfectly articulate letter complaining about something to a government agency that's just been ignored, and as soon as you write with a House of Commons letterhead, then suddenly something gets done. So I do think there's some time that could be saved if various agencies just got a little bit more on the ball. But in general, I do think casework is very important, as is listening to debates in Parliament, and one of the challenges for MPs is just managing to juggle the two and balance the time the best way possible. UK democracy could be improved in a whole host of ways. An elected House of Lords, votes at 16, introducing a right of recall for constituents to be able to force a by-election if their MP's been found to be corrupt or guilty of a serious offence, making sure that we have a fair voting system, having a citizens' convention to get people across the country involved in discussing what kind of politics we want. And I would say that, I think, is actually the most important thing, is getting more people involved in politics, because our democracy works best when a lot of people are engaged with it, and that's one of the problems we've had recently with many people turning off politics. So I spend a lot of time trying to encourage people to get involved in politics, both in my area and more widely around the country, particularly from underrepresented groups. If you're watching this, I figure there's a pretty good chance you're quite interested in politics already, so I would just urge you to keep getting involved, and why not think about standing for Parliament yourself? Actually, I would say it's neither party nor constituency, but conscience. At the end of the day, whatever I do in Parliament, whatever votes I cast, I have to be able to sleep at night and live with the decisions that I've made. It wouldn't matter if 99% of my constituents and my party wanted me to vote to bring back the death penalty in this country. I still couldn't actually vote that way because I believe it's wrong. So the first test I have to satisfy is whether or not something goes against my conscience. After that, then really it's constituency, but also bearing in mind that I've been elected as a Liberal Democrat, so people have a certain expectation of that. They expect that I'll be voting in favour of fair voting and that I'll be voting against identity cards, for example. Those aren't difficult things to juggle. Fortunately, with the constituents that I have writing to me about these issues, tend to be in favour of those positions. So really, I would say it's conscience, then constituency, then party. I'm passionate about politics, and I want to make a difference, and I suspect that's what most people would say about why they wanted to be an MP. My personal experience was I was working as a marketing manager for a radio station, which was good fun on a day-to-day basis, but I didn't really feel like it made a huge difference to the world if more people listened to Viking FM than Galaxy, and I really wanted to do something which meant that I could get up in the morning and pursue my beliefs. Being an MP isn't the only way to do that. Some of the other things I considered would be going to work for a business that had very much the same values and ethics to what I have, but I'd always been interested in politics and was in the right place at the right time when my home seat had boundary changes, making it winnable for the Lib Dems. So I bit the bullet and went for it, and I'm absolutely delighted that I did, because I feel very lucky to be doing a job that I love.